Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about the current state of Rivals and what I'm hoping to see in the new upcoming patch this Friday, which will be Season 7. So if I can start off, I'll just let you guys know about me. I am a multi-season Eternity Peak DPS player. I've hit Eternity on every role so far, and I just thought my perspective, my input on the game would be a little helpful. And I really hope, and I just want to talk about what I hope to see in the upcoming season. So I'll go ahead and start with what I know they've announced, which is the throwing problem with like the website and everything. They did announce and did a bunch of and are working on that, and that makes me very happy. That means they are listening to us and what we have to say about the game. So I'm hoping that with that, they also and the new ban system that they're implementing, that the game becomes better. And we'll see. It should already become a lot better because we won't be getting double bans anymore. There won't be any more of that. It'll be super nice. I think the biggest thing they could do for this game right now is this game. Personally, I think this game needs a new meta. I think this game having the same meta that we've been in since the game's beta has been really boring and stale. Hope every game doesn't really feel fun to play against, and I would really like to see characters that haven't had the limelight or the time of day to really shine get a chance. Characters like Blade, BP, Widow. These characters have just been so bad ever since the game's release because they just are they're so much weaker. Their kits are just so much weaker compared to like Hela, Phoenix, and these other new characters are just coming to the game with crazy kits. So I'm really hoping to see changes around those characters especially. And overall, a meta shift to something more brawl heavy. I want to see if they could something more brawl heavy would be really nice. Brawl or dive, and just give us a new fresh season to play with a new fresh meta. I think the way they can do this really is by truly nerfing some of these characters more base numbers. I think DPS in general in this game need to have their numbers adjusted so supports can have their numbers adjusted. I think the ability to not have anyone die for a solid 8 seconds like Luna can have is really insane, and I think it needs to be adjusted. I think character reworks is a big thing that needs to happen. Characters like BP, Widow, and Blade, these characters that have like the #1 Blade player completely dropping the character because the character is just so unplayable. I think that these characters need to be reworked or adjusted to the point where they're actually playable. I think a rework is best for most of them. I think Widow especially needs a rework, and BP. Like, they're good in their own. They're good in some ways, but Widow just doesn't have the damage output to keep up with the characters in this game currently that are doing 1 billion damage. I think Blade is struggling, especially after they nerfed his damage to give him more anti-heal. The anti-heal doesn't truly matter because triple support has been meta for so long, and triple support meta is just, it doesn't care about the anti-heal. The anti-heal is not enough to truly matter. So Blade is just in a really tough spot when he just doesn't do the damage to keep up, and he's not a tank. He's a DPS, so he has a DPS health pool, and he's sitting there in the front line hitting tanks, and he can't really flank because he has a pretty big hitbox, so his flanks are really hard, and he's pretty loud. I think with those changes, I think they could. Just those reasons alone, they need to rework these characters and make them better. BP is struggling. BP can't kill anything because of how high everyone's health pools are, and how much damage he does. I think if those three characters are the characters that currently need the biggest reworks currently in the game. I think overall damage and healing needs to be nerfed, as well as those characters getting reworked. I think if they nerf damage and support and healing, so that it's not just a ult game where either the support's not looking at you, you die instantly, or the support's looking at you and you never die, and then it would be good change, because all that leads to is build ult, fire ult, build ult, fire ult, which is what we've had for such a long time in this game. Besides that, I think another thing they could do that would be really nice is I want to see a new map rotation. We've played the same maps for so long. There's maps like Tokyo 2099 that haven't been in the game since like Season 1. It's been so long since they've been in the game, and I would like to see these maps make a comeback in some way, because I do truly miss some maps. There's some maps that I agree that need to be changed, but instead of removing the get map from the game completely, you could change the map and fix the things that are going wrong in the map. Like Tokyo 2099 having the strange portal tech. It's still in Yggdrasil, that portal tech, and it's really obnoxious to play against because he just portals you off your spawn and you can't do anything, and you lose the whole point off that if the strange gets it early enough and after a team wipe. So you lose it basically is the whole point over just because you can sit 3 on cart permanently and don't have to do anything else. But I think if they do that and they just change the maps and fix everything like that, instead of removing maps from the rotation, it would be perfect. Another thing I think they need to do is I think they need to look at the rank system in general in this game, because I think Celestial rank is a complete waste of a rank. When the seasons are so short, most people can't climb to Celestial or don't play enough to climb out of Celestial. So you have like Eternity that has more players than Celestial 1 and Celestial 2 combined. That makes no sense. I think Celestial is just a very useless rank. When it comes to that, it doesn't really gatekeep anyone. It's just more of a time. Are you investing the time and sinking the time into the game to get out of Celestial? I think back to the meta topic. I think meta topics, poke meta needs to stop, like over and over. That is the meta. As I said, that is the meta that it's been. If they can remove poke meta and give us a different meta along with a fresh character. Rivals has that over Overwatch. It's such a unique game in the fact that its seasons are so short that if they were to take the seasons and be like, hey, we can pump out different metas every month, every month and a half, when Overwatch can't really do that, and we release a new character to shake up the season. They don't have to adjust the game to benefit that character to say. They could just be like, okay, let's release a new character, but let's also shake up the meta and give players a chance to actually enjoy the game again and feel fresh, instead of playing the same game over and over again. Other than that, I think overall, if they truly prioritize nerfing characters instead of buffing characters, I think the whole if everyone's OP, no one's OP thing is very long and gone with this game. And it really sucks to say that because it was fun when everyone was OP. But I think at this point, with everyone being as powerful as they are, most characters in the game need to be nerfed fairly heavily just to balance the game out, and then they can build off that and build a new meta around the game, because it's hard to keep watching characters like Storm, like Iron Man, like these flyers, just these players that just main these characters. They can't play the character. The thing mains, they can't play their character because their characters are just so weak in the current meta, and there's no meta for them. It's like Thing is exclusively anti-dive, but dive hasn't been meta in so long because it's just impossible to play the characters that dive. Because why would I play, BP and have to use all my cooldowns to possibly get a kill when I could play Hela and just 2-tap you, or I could play Phoenix and just 2-tap you, or I could play Elsa, who honestly, I think Elsa, when it comes to Elsa, she just needs her ult to be a little bit change just a little bit. That ult's still a little bit impressive, but I think these characters don't have a spot in the game, and it really hurts to see when you have players like the #1 Blade who ended up quitting the game because, well, quitting Blade fully because he's just that unplayable. So I really want to see a change in the meta, in the balance of characters. I want to see DPS doing less damage, but healers doing less healing, giving characters a chance to actually make outplays and giving us a neutral game. That's where I think Overwatch beats Rivals currently. Is Overwatch has a very good neutral game. There's a lot going on before you have ults. There's a lot going on after you have ults. There's a lot going on when you have ults. So there's just a lot going on in the game at all times. When in Rivals, it feels like it's more of whoever has the more ults first wins. When it comes to every single stage, what you're doing in the game. So if they can change that and make it so it's less ult focused of a game, that would be really good for the game. In the end, I think the last thing they truly need to look at and pay attention to and change and work on is the point distribution system. I think the performance-based points distribution is a horrible addition, especially when it's not balanced the way it should. because it seems like it prioritizes players getting finals over anything else. So like tanks and supports are getting way less points than DPS players who are performing mediocre at best. I think they should not be able to perform mediocre like this, and I think if a DPS deserves more points, they shouldn't be playing like, oh, I got 10 finals, I get 25 for that. When it should be when the support healed, 50,000, and the tanks shielded like 70,000 damage and they're getting 20. I don't think that's fair when it comes to performance-based matchmaking and performance-based point distribution. I think it needs to be looked at and changed. Besides that, I think another thing that really needs to happen is I think the chrono tokens, the chrono shields that people get in lower ranks, I think those need to be removed. I think them giving the players an easy like I lose 0, I climb, it should not be a thing. I think if you lose, you should lose points no matter what. I don't think you should just lose 0 points. Besides that, I think most things are like really are looking positive because they are listening to us. As I said again, they are listening to us and they're really understanding what we want as a community, how we want the game to be more balanced, how we want more meta, how we want things to change, because it's the same. Because in all honesty, playing the same game over and over does get very boring very fast. And Rivals is a game that can get very boring very fast because it is the same thing, and that's when meta switching up really changes that. It makes the game more enjoyable for everyone who plays the game. I think it will help the player base grow. I think it'll help when it comes to toxicity, because players won't be forced off the character. Like, say, I understand one trucks could be considered toxic, but I think like players that are just forced off their characters they're good on because they're so bad is just unfun for that player. When characters like Hello players just have always been good. Phoenix has always been good, and I think if they change those and they keep listening to us, they need to keep listening to us as they did, which is very nice to see that they're listening to us and actually understanding what we want in the meta. It will be very helpful. I think with those changes, Season 7 is shaping up to be one of the better seasons, and we'll see if they decide to actually balance it or if they try to nerf anything. If they don't nerf anything, it's going to be really interesting to see how the game progresses, because if they don't nerf anything but they buff a bunch, it's going to be, again, everyone's overpowered so no one is, so it'll still be fun in that regard. I think if they do nerfs though, it'll be better for the longevity of the game and how the game will last and keep competing with Overwatch, which is just right now, especially with their new patches, they're just blowing Rivals out of the water when it comes to everything. They're doing really well balancing their game and making the game more fun, giving us a neutral to play. So I hope that they do these fixes and just keep listening. If they keep listening, which it seems like they want to, which is really good to see that they want to keep listening to us, this game will get better. I do not think this game should be balanced around the top 500. I don't think it should be balanced around Eternity players. I think it should be balanced around the majority, yes. But at the same time, I think the majority needs to understand that damage and supports both need to be nerfed heavily so we can have fun in the game. So with that note, I'm gonna leave it off there. If you guys could like, comment, and sub, let me know what you guys want to see. I got a bunch more Rivals content coming for the new season this week. I hope to see you guys there. Alright, you guys have a great rest of your night. Bye.